And this is a mystery box.
Or the mystery box.
What's in the box?
Mystery box could be anything. It could even be a boat.
Hey everyone, welcome back. It's another episode. If this is your first time, the deal is my folks needed more space in their house. My sister, Martha, packed up my dad's entire comic book collection, 7 long boxes, and sent them all to my house in Washington, where I am going through them on camera for the glory of YouTube. I have no idea what's in these. I learned to read on these comic books as a child, and remember hardly anything at all. So we're going through them together, and with that we will, I hope, maybe finish off the first long box. So let's get started with Johnny Quest Classics from Comico. I've never read these. My dad loved Johnny Quest, and I remember watching the cartoons. The Venture Brothers are based in part on Johnny Quest. These were problematic, if I recall. A little racist at times. Michael Moorcock's Elric, no idea. More Conan, I love Conan. I mentioned that in the last video. These are a guilty pleasure of mine. Just good old-fashioned sword and sorcery, hacking away at monsters and saving princesses. Yeah, these are wild. I don't know if any of these have any value monetarily. It's not like they're going to be introducing, superheroes and the like. Okay, The Fury of Firestorm, the Nuclear Man. If you watch The Flash on the CW, you might know who Firestorm is. He's a fusion of a college student and a physics professor. These are another one I'm going to have to check because I'm not a DC guy. I have no idea if any of these have any value. I didn't know that Firestorm fought werewolves and minotaurs, though. That's a satyr, not a minotaur. That's kind of fascinating. But these are early issues. We've got 4, 3, 2. We do not have 1. Maybe we'll find 1 later. Maybe 1 got moved. This is likely what we will spend a considerable amount of time after the episode talking about. Marvel's Superheroes Secret Wars. Now, we're looking for issue 8. Issue 8 is the money issue. Maybe they'll be in the next stack. Issue 8 is the first appearance of Spider-Man's black suit. They're all out of order. We've got 12, 2, another 4, a couple 3s, 1. Oh, I've got a bad feeling. Oh, 7. Another 2. And the New Mutants 26. Okay. That's a bummer. But this series is really, really interesting. We can talk about it when I go through the value and interesting stories at the end. This was my first crossover event. This was the first time I saw the X-Men alongside the Avengers and the Fantastic Four and Spider-Man. So I'm excited to get into this a little bit. We've got New Mutants, more Conan, some Green Lantern. Okay, so Green Lantern was the character that came the closest to getting me into DC. I love how sci-fi he was. The Demolition Team. Enter the Lost World of the Warlord. These again, I have no idea. Ooh. The Judas Contract. This is the first appearance of Nightwing. So that could be valuable. of some value. The real valuable book for Tales of the Teen Titans, or the New Teen Titans, is issue number 2, which is the first appearance of Mr. Deathstroke. But the first appearance of Nightwing is pretty cool, so I'll take that. That's Dick Grayson abandoning the Robin moniker and becoming Nightwing. Thriller. I don't know what these are at all, but we have the first 2. And the Legion of Superheroes. Okay, so some interesting stuff there. Stuff to talk about, if nothing else. Maybe we will get through all these. The Omega Men. More the Warlord. I have to admit, I'm not familiar with this character at all. He looks like a Conan... I don't know, ripoff? I don't want to say ripoff because I'm not smart enough to know if he came first. But there's this weird sci-fi stuff happening too. What is going on in this book? In one issue he's next to a unicorn, and the next he's got a flying car and a lion cat? I don't know what that is. Vigilante. More of that thriller. Maybe that's interesting. We'll find out. Star Trek. I never read any of these. I like Star Trek, though. Some more Firestorm. I don't know if we'll find issue 1, but we've got an... Okay. Crisis on Infinite Earths. This is a crossover event for DC, similar to Secret Wars. I'm more knowledgeable about Crisis on Infinite Earths than I am other DC stuff. I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, but I know that we're looking for the death of the Flash, Barry Allen, and the death of Supergirl. Spoiler alert. But we don't have them. We've got an old Batman. Some more Firestorm. And we'll do the very last little stack of comics here. Although it's not that little. And we'll be done with the first box. More Firestorm turning into a werewolf. I'm going to read these books. That's too interesting now. Some more Warlord. More Omega Men. Some more Green Lantern. Millennium is another crossover event, but I don't know anything about it. So I'm glad I've got the first 3 books, although the first one is all folded up. That sucks. Green Arrow, The Longbow Hunters. This is a pretty popular storyline because I've heard of it and I've never really read the Green Arrow before. So that'll be interesting to check out. He-Man, The Masters of the Universe, Next Gen. Some more cool old Green Lantern. And I want to say these are in good shape too. That's super exciting. Star Trek The Search for Spock. I love these movie tie-ins. They are either super interesting or really awful. More Green Lanterns. Millennium Week 7. Starman. There was a movie. Maybe? Okay. So another Star Trek, and then Web of Spider-Man. I think Web of Spider-Man has some really amazing covers. Once he got that black suit, they really started playing with the colors on it. It's super cool. Spectacular Spider-Man with Blaze versus an 80s gang. Marvel Team Up. This was a fun, I think I've mentioned this before, but this was a fun series where Spider-Man would just randomly team up with a bunch of cool other superheroes. So here he is teaming up with the Valkyrie. Spider-Man and the Black Cat versus the Blob. The Jack of Hearts. No idea. But apparently we have 4 and 4. We do not have 1, 2, or 3. Another Rom. And Solomon Kane, 4 and 6. Okay. That is the last box. So I'm going to take this stack of comic books. I'm going to find out if there's anything interesting here other than what I've already pointed out. See if any of the Firestorm or Green Lantern is good, and then I'll be right back. What's up, everyone? I am back, and we have either too much or not enough to talk about. Let me explain. So in the last portion of this long box, we ran into representatives of 3 pretty big events. For Marvel, we have the Secret Wars. And for DC, we have Millennium and Crisis on Infinite Earths. Now, my thinking is that each one of these events probably deserves its own video. And I might even wait to see if we can't find more of the issues for these. We're still missing 8 for Secret Wars. We're still missing 2/3, 3/4 of Crisis on Infinite Earths. And we're still missing Question Mark on Millennium, an event that I am not familiar with at all. So I think for now, what we're going to do is step away from these. I will keep these in reserve, and if we have a real bummer of a box later on, I might flex these in, and we can discuss them in more detail. That being said, it's not as if there weren't any interesting finds or fun surprises. So first and foremost, we have Masters of the Universe. Now, these aren't super valuable books. Around $10 each, maybe less. But I was pleasantly surprised to even see that. I expected them to be worth nothing at all. It could be because they are a limited run. These are issue 2 and issue 3 of 3. But that being said, issue 4 of 6 for Solomon Kane is worth $3. And Jack of Hearts, 4 of 4 is $2. So it's not just exclusivity that increased the price on these. There must be something else going on there. It could be good writing. It could be any number of things. I don't know. I just know that they were more than average. So I pulled them out. I thought it would be interesting to take a look at that. I'm also surprised that these are in the condition they are in. These are both in near mint shape. And that surprises the heck out of me because I would have expected young Fletch to have destroyed these. I loved Masters of the Universe when I was a kid. They were the only toys that my grandma had at her house. So every time we went over there, we would play with He-Man toys. If I had gotten my hands on these, they would be trashed. So kind of cool to find them in great shape and then also know that they're not completely worthless. Now, there was a big surprise, and I had to check myself a little bit because I saw New Mutants 26 and I disregarded it. I thought to myself, well, it's not New Mutants 98. New Mutants 98, of course, the first appearance of Deadpool. But New Mutants 26 is the first appearance of Legion, a very cool character. If you're not familiar with him, he is Charles Xavier's, or Professor X's, son, and has caused no end of shenanigans for the X-Men and the Marvel Universe. You can also find him on the FX show Legion, which is quite good. So, super interesting, very fun find that I had no idea. And I'm going to be more careful moving forward checking these, because you never know when someone is going to pop up in a book and make it worth more than initially anticipated. And then lastly, Teen Titans 44, the first appearance of Nightwing. Obviously, Dick Grayson had been around for a long time before this. This is just when he decided to stop being Robin, to ditch the red and yellow, and take up the cooler blue and light blue and a little bit of yellow of Nightwing. Teen Titans is kind of an interesting story, and I don't know how much more of this book we're going to find. I don't know if my dad read it, but I think Teen Titans is possibly one of DC's biggest missed opportunities. That cartoon that ran on Cartoon Network was hugely popular. People loved it. Those characters were so good. The writing was really good on that show, and they could have capitalized on that in a big way, and they never really did. When they brought the Teen Titans back after that show, they brought them back as this like oddly, overly sexual group, which was sort of troubling because some of them were, 15 and 16, and they just really, really emphasized their sexuality, which was problematic, to say the least. I think they could have done a lot more with that tie-in. This is also the book that really drove home for me the effectiveness of a great writer-artist combo. Marv Wolfman and George Perez are iconic, to say the least. Their run on Teen Titans was fantastic. It's one of the very few DC books that I've read in greater detail. So, I mean, yeah, I hope to find more of these, even though most of them aren't, super powerful, or even though most of them aren't super valuable. I like them. I like reading them, so I hope there are more. And then lastly, we have a fun miss. And I say that because, like I said, I try to research these really well. Here we have Omega Men 4, Omega Men 5, and Omega Men 12. What we are missing is Omega Men 3, which is the first appearance of Lobo, who's a super popular DC character. It's a book that I'll be on the lookout for. We have just finished one box of 7. So there's a lot more comic books to go through. There's a lot more research to be done on these. I'm just super excited to see what we find. But now I know I should be on the lookout for Omega Men 3, a comic book that I, under normal circumstances, wouldn't have looked twice at. So that's it for this episode. That's it for book 1. We will be back soon to crack open box 2 and see what there is to see. Talk to you later.